Hello, and welcome back to Mr. Anderson Plays Detective Jake Hunter, Detective Chronicles, Memories of the Past. Or is it just Jake Hunter? I'm not quite sure. Memories of the Past. Oh, whatever. It's too long of a title, but you get the gist. Well, we're about to start a new chapter called Crash and Burn. If anyone ever owned the Panasonic 3DO, I think a game called Crash and Burn came with the console. It was a standard racing game, except it was set in the future and you blew each other up while you were racing. It was pretty cool. If you haven't played it, you should probably check it out. Crash and Burn, if you're a fan of racing games, that is. Yeah, I'm not too big of a fan, but I remember playing a lot of Crash and Burn. But anyway, this is Jake Hunter. Let's do this. He had that, you farted look on his face, and he knows it. He is a detective after all. Clack. Clang. Thud. I'm dropping the hammer. No, you're not. What are you guys doing? We're eating some iced cream. If anyone can tell me what movie that's from, 10 points. I didn't know who the hell would be barging into my office at the crack of dawn on Sunday. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought they were on the pit or something. But I did not know what I was going to do but I did know what I was going to do to them. It wasn't going to be very pretty. As I reached for the Louisville Slugger under my bed, I realized that there was only one other person with the office keys. My assistant, Yulia Marks. She's one of the smartest people I know, and that intelligence has been invaluable to my work more than times I can count. But it wasn't going to save her this time. I tried to focus my eyes on the clock. It was 7 in the goddamn morning. Then Yulia started pounding on the door again, and I remembered the scotch from the night before. All 25 ounces of it. I pulled the pillow over my head and tried not to throw up. Yulia's obnoxious screech forced its way through the pillow and into my protesting ears. Sir, are you up? Sir! I couldn't imagine what on earth was so important that she had to wake me up at 7 in the morning. Sir? It didn't look like she was going to go away. I pulled on some clothes and stumbled down the stairs. Oh, he's wearing a white tux now. Outside of the office, it was as silent as a grave. Trapudio comes alive at night, but once morning rolls around, things get pretty quiet. Which is how I like it. My eyes felt like they were covered with Vaseline, probably from all the masturbation I had last night, and my skull felt like a jackhammer testing facility. Good morning, sir. She had done yoga or something? It wasn't. What did I want to do? What's an inspect, Julia? A great assistant most of the time and fluent in several languages. She could even speak the PlayStation controller. She wasn't exactly on my good side of the moon. Julia, coming to work? What are you doing here, babe? It's a little early for work. I suppose I shouldn't have expected this. Did you feel weapon like Zero from Mega Man would use. And Yoli had turned around and began walking toward the door. Wish I had a cool name like that. Come on, Sarah, let's go. Huh? Wait, we're leaving right now? Yes, of course. Don't worry, I'll drive. He needs to take a shower or something. Sure, he was 5 hours away by car. Lit a cigarette. Oh yes, there's no smoking allowed in my car, so please get that out of your system before we leave. Oh shit, 5 hours, cigarette. The day was going to be the death of me. She would have looked cool as a cucumber to anyone else. I'd known Julian long enough to tell she was not too pleased with me. I had a feeling it was going to be a long day. That was how I felt. That's how I left for Satiri, tired, hungover, and squarely in the doghouse. The perfect prelude to the tragedy that waited for us in Satiri. It was a little past noon when Billy and I finally pulled into the smoke. Turn down this volume. Let's go down the well. I forgot that the street. pit was full of men and bikes. The men running back and forth yelling, the bikes rumbling like anxious jungle my mic volume. Damn, sorry. And I've been talking lower than usual too. Yulia glanced at her watch. The race is about to start, so you probably didn't even hear half of what I was saying. We should go to the pavilion. Hopefully Carrie's there waiting for us. Wow, I did not realize that I turned down my own volume. Yulia and I walked out of the pit towards the stands. Get in the pit and try to love someone. The walkway from the pit to the stands went underground to the bypass track. Even underground, we could hear the cheering of the spectators. I'll try it. Maybe I can correct that and post. I'm not very good with sound. As Yulia and I emerged from the tunnel, the sunlight hit me like a punch to the face. I wish I had like an editor, like your big YouTubers have, like Mark. He does like a lot of those like weird jump cuts and shit like that, which I'm not a huge fan of. But anyway, the sunlight hit me in the face like a punch to the face. As my eyes began to adjust, I looked around in an attempt to figure out what the hell a racetrack was like. It's black. Colorful signs dotted the black asphalt of the track under a brilliant blue sky. It was a little too brilliant for a PI nursing. I have a vicious hangover. It's about to get really loud, too. Milling around the starting line were the drivers themselves, with matching racing suits and bikes. I always felt racing was a little wasteful, because it's just people driving in a circle wasting gas constantly. The bright light and noise was almost unbearable. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out how I'd let Yulia talk me into the whole thing. For a non-renewable resource, we sure do like wasting gasoline, to be honest with you. Like, imagine how much gas these guys use. I guess it's better than actual NASCAR, because motorcycles don't use up that much gas. The motorcycles were lined up along one side of the track, with the drivers awaiting in anticipation on the other side. When the signal was given, the drivers would run to their bikes and start the race. This is known as a layman's start, after a famous sports car race in France. Why the hell did I know that? It's about to start. Yulia looked uncharacteristically excited. Was she really a bike racing fan? Or was she just happy to see me miserable? Look at all those tight butts. Man, they all turned into motorcycles. Oh wow, you get like a nice detailed shot like Ren and Stimpy. A bike shot past us on its first lap with a deafening roar. It felt like someone pounding a railway spike into my temple. My guess was that it took each driver about 2 or 3 minutes to make a lap. It was a 300-kilometer race, with the driver switch halfway through. It looks like Sabin was in last. She didn't look too happy about it. And Carrie isn't even here yet. I wonder if everything's okay. I know, you go somewhere expecting to hang out with a friend, but then you're stuck watching someone go in a circle a bunch of times. The rest of the bikes shot past us like a swarm of angry, enormous bees. Something's wrong. Sabin hadn't driven past us with the rest of those god-awful noise machines. No, of course he had. I was just too busy wallowing in my misery to see him. There wasn't any reason. Yulia gave me a worried look. Sir, did you see Sabin drive past just now? I squinted across the track at the CCR pit. They didn't look happy. Something must have happened. Sir? The fear in Yulia's voice cut through the haze of my hangover. Something was seriously wrong. Let's go to the pit. Try to love someone. Yulia and I were silent as we walked quickly through the tunnel to the CCR pit. Fear was quickly washing the haze of the hangover from my mind. We finally arrived at the CCR pit. What did I want to do? Let's look around. The pit was total chaos. I tried to flag down a couple of people, but no one was in the position to talk to me. I was ready to forget about it when he finally ran into Crowley. So what's going on, Crowley? I guess we could talk to him. The race. Something wrong, Crowley? Oh, it's you. What happened to Sabin? He didn't get in an accident, did he? Mr. Crowley looked from my face to Julius and frowned his brow. Well, that's the thing. What's wrong with Sabin? Is Sabin all right? Well, honestly, it's hard to say. Oh no, don't tell me he's been seriously hurt. For all we know, he's fine. For all we know. They don't know where he is. What the hell? Come on, Crowley, just spit it out. What the hell's going on here? Well, it's not that simple. Deciding we weren't going to get anything out of Sabin out of Crowley, Yulia tried another tack. Has Carrie shown up yet? No, I haven't seen her. The moment the words were out of his mouth, Crowley paused, as if he just realized something. You know, Sabin mentioned that you're a detective. You think you can come to the clinic with me real quick? You gotta get, like, tested for an STD or something, bro? It's the AC's clinic. It's just right down the road. So Sabin's been hospitalized? Oh yeah. Look, it'll make sense when we get there, okay? How do you get hospitalized and you don't... Whatever, it's confusing. I think I should come with. Oh, but if Carrie comes by... I'll leave a message with the boys to tell her to come to the clinic if she shows up. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. I needed a glass of scotch. The three of us piled into Yulia's car. Crowley didn't say the word the whole trip. It wasn't exactly encouraging. Well, his racer on racing day got hurt somehow. We arrived at the AC's clinic in Crowley's company. Sabin, we were told, was currently in surgery. What the fuck happened? Mr. Crowley. Alright, Crowley, you got me here. What is it you need my help with? Well, it's like this. The man who's in surgery right now, his name's Thomas. Thomas? Who the hell's Thomas? You know, the train? What did I want to talk about? Thomas. Thomas. Who the hell is Thomas? He's Sabin's apprentice. Well, I guess I should say, was. He's not a bad driver, but his attitude was terrible. He was fired from a team 3 months ago. They're talking about Thomas Tucker, aren't you? I heard about him. But why is he here? His involvement. I guess Tucker had something to do with the race today? Well, Crowley had to think about that one for a moment, but finally he seemed to make up his mind. During the race, our bike crashed. The driver was unconscious after the crash, so he took his helmet off to make sure he was okay. But it wasn't Sabin under there. It was Thomas. He was hurt by the crash, so we brought him here. What? Why couldn't you have told us this a half an hour ago? That can't be. If it was Thomas on the bike, where's Sabin? Any idea where Sabin is? Maybe he needed an alibi while he killed his girlfriend, Carrie? He left all of his stuff in the pit, but I don't know where he might have run off to. I had no idea what the hell to make of this whole mess. Whatever Sabin had needed to do, it must have been pretty important if he'd skip a race for it. If anyone knew, it was probably Tucker, Chris Tucker. They decided it was time for two of us to have a little heart-to-heart. His operation. How much longer is Tucker going to be in surgery? The operation is a major one. They had to put him under, but he's still sleeping. They don't think he'll wake up until around 5 this evening. Then I had 3 hours before I could talk to him. Detective Hunter, the reason why I asked you here is because I was hoping you could try to find Sabin. Figure out where he's gone, and why all of this happened. Fuck it. Nah, I'll accept it, of course. I mean, this is but thou most moment. Well, I've never wanted to turn down a job. I'm your man. We can discuss my fee later. Good, thank you. I'll be heading back to the track then. I'm going to have a lot to deal with after what happened today. Sorry to run off like this, but I've got a long day ahead of me. I'm counting on you. He apologized one more time and pushed his way through the door and outside. Don't apologize. You're paying me a lot of money to do this, even though you don't know. Yulia, where Sabin is? I think our best bet right now is to check out any places we think Sabin might go. Yes, but I have no idea where that might be. Well, not in Soteria at least. Where's that mean? Where's Sabin lodging? I don't think he was going to drive all the way home after their race today. Any idea where he's planning to catch his 40 winks? I have no fucking clue what that means. What does 40 winks mean, guys? Actually, yes. I do know that much. Carrie told me that they were going to stay at the Soteria Inn. Well, we might as well start there. Even if it's a bust, it's better than wasting our time sitting around here. You're right, sir. Who knows, maybe Carrie will be there. Perhaps she didn't feel well. That was then. First stop, Soteria Inn. Yulia looks like a woman that's always on the verge to cry. I mean, I know a lot of women like that, though. The Soteria Inn was about 10 minutes away from the racetrack. This time, I offered to drive. As the car bounced along the road, Yulia's mind was somewhere else. The blank look was in her eyes, and it was all too easy to guess what she was thinking. There wasn't much I could say to her. Yulia and I arrived at the Soteria Inn. Excuse me, sir. I'm afraid you didn't ask Sabin and Carrie which room they were going to stay in. Not a problem, babe. We've got an idea. Maybe there is a checking counter? The lobby was big and fancy. The Soteria Inn was a classy joint. Let's talk to reception. A young bellhop stood next to the reception desk. I watched him bow politely to several passing patrons. Say that 5 times fast. His name tag read Hans Kreutz. What did I want to look at? I think we want to talk to Kurtz, whatever. Hans. What do I want to talk about, Mr. Olsen? Welcome. Thank you for choosing Soteria Inn. Hey there, kid. I was hoping you might be able to help me with something. A friend of mine, Mr. Olsen, is staying here. Is he in? Mr. Olsen? Just one moment, please. Thank you for your patience. We are still holding his room keys. It would appear that he has not returned yet. Well, that'd been easier. That'd been easier than I expected. If I could just get Sabin's room number out of the kid. Sabin's room. Now, he told me on the phone, but I completely forgot which room he's staying in. 425, number 380. Mr. Olsen is staying in room 344. Fortunately, I'm unable to let you through to the third floor. Third floor is off limits. That sounds interesting. The third floor. Why can't I go to the third floor? There has been a minor accident. It is currently under investigation by the police. Why am I now? I'm getting a Scottish accent. Fuck. I guess I have to get a little bit heavier on the German accent. The cops. Just what kind of accident are we talking about here? I am unable to disclose the information, sir. Please understand. That's more Austrian. I'm good at Austrian though. He might have been polite about it, but the message was clear. I suddenly looked around and noticed the buzzing of the guests that had gathered in the lobby. I missed them when Yulia and I first arrived. The accident. Come on, kid. You can level with me. What's going on up there? I believe the police will make an official announcement once they finish the investigation. Until then, I'm unable to disclose any further information. I wasn't going to get anywhere with this guy, and his incessantly polite attitude was starting to grate on my nerves. But I need all the information I can get my hands on. I know there had to be some way to get him to crack. I peered over the counter and noticed a piece of paper covered in a jumble of words and lines. It took a moment for me to realize it was some kind of puzzle. Kreutz might have been trying to figure it out to kill time. Talk. Kreutz. The puzzle. I couldn't help noticing. You into puzzles? Huh? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Kreutz frankly tried to hide the piece of paper whenever I come across a secret. I'm giving it a... God damn, I can't... Whenever I come across a secret code in a mystery novel, I try to solve it, even at work. Perfect. I found my angle. What did I want to talk about? I guess the answer. Have you solved that one yet? No, not yet. Mind if I take a look? No, go ahead. I took the piece of paper from Kreutz. There were several strange words written on it. Riha, hike, sahai, rihe, wala. What the hell is this? Oh, it's one of those anagrams, I think. It's a letter that was sent to the detective from the person who knows who the killer is. The sender refers to himself as Noah's flip-flop. I'm quite certain that the content of their letter points to the criminal, but... Who is the criminal? The lawyer. The lawyer is the murderer. Oh, how come? Were you able to decipher the formula behind the code? The formula? Yes. Well, I couldn't be sure of the answer without one. Now, how could I? It's the sender's name. The key to deciphering the code lies in the sender's name. His name. Noah's flip-flop. Basically, just to flip-flop the letters. I'm still a bit confused. Well, it says flip-flop. I figure that means you're supposed to flip the words around, like so. Yeah. Killer. Lawyer is killer. Now for no, so no A's. Just read it without the ahs. Lawyer is killer. Lawyer is killer. Killer is dead. The lawyer is the killer. Oh, I see. Sir, that's brilliant. May I bother you with another one? Oh my god. It's been 3 years and I've yet to figure out the answer. Didn't you just fucking read the book? Mr. Kurtz handed me a piece of paper with what appeared to be poetry written on it. Hark, the lark answers. To the spark, spawn of dawn, soon gone. Sweet kisses defeat conceit. Of mind intertwined and sorrow confined, honor's plight from white light, and eyes that never disguise these lies. Nice. You write this, kid? No. It's from another mystery novel. An elderly man who's almost killed in the story recites this poem. It's supposed to hold the key to solving the case. Why didn't you just frickin' finish the story? It would have told you what happened. Well, I figured it couldn't hurt to start by reading the poem aloud. I already did. Ask the sun. This code can be deciphered as Ask Sun. Oh, how did you figure that out? Well, first you have to look at each line of the poem. You'll find that aside from the articles and prepositions, only one word doesn't rhyme with the others in each line. Answers, soon, kisses. Sorrow, honors, near. So sun, ask sun. Take the first letter of each word. Ask sun. Ask sun. Sir, you're a genius. Sir, may I ask exactly what you do exactly? Figured it was about time I'd come clean about my identity. Hopefully I've been able to convince my new friend to part with some information about the case. Well, I guess I'll use one of my business cards. I hope showing one of my business cards to Kreutz would win him over. Took. Kreutz. Me. Here you go, kid. I'm working a case right now. Just looking for clues at the moment. Think you could help me out? Hunter Detective Agency. You're a detective? You would have thought the kid just found a $100 bill the way he poured over my card. I understand. Well, I guess they're going to tell everyone eventually anyway. Like taking candy from a baby. Third floor accident. Alright, what can you tell me about the accident? Actually, to tell the truth, it wasn't an accident. It was a crime. A crime? Yes. One of the guests had been murdered. What? Oh. Murder victim? That ain't good. Who was it? Mr. Keegan Yates in room 303. Keegan Yates. Yulia had kept silent for so long that I jumped a little when she suddenly spoke up. Yates. Who is Mr. Yates? He's affiliated with Team Turnsdale, one of the teams that was in today's motorcycle race. In fact, most people were saying he's going to be the next owner of Team Turnsdale. Yulia seemed like she knew him. You know about this guy? Yes, unless he's a different Keegan Yates. He and Sabin were in school together. I haven't heard anything about him for a while. Kurtz had been none too subtly eavesdropping on our conversation, and could contain himself no longer. Would you like to talk to one of the officers at the crime scene? Since it sounds like the victim was a friend of yours? Thanks, pal, it'd be great. Alright, please excuse me for a moment. Kurtz picked up the phone and started talking to someone. Could hear him explaining our situation. Thank you for your patience. They have asked that you proceed to the third floor. Please ask for Mr. Isaac Irving, the officer in charge of the case. Isaac Irving. People have some really interesting names around here. Thanks a million, kid. Yulia and I made our way to the elevator and pushed the button for the third floor. The machinery gave a low hum, and I felt the elevator start to move. Yulia was silent as we moved, her eyes gazing down at the floor. We stepped off the elevator onto the third floor. There was no police officers in sight. Well, we might as well look at the room in question. Yes, waiting here will do no good. It was a good plan. I could only remember which room Yates was staying in. 303. Mr. Yates' room is in 303. I believe that is what Mr. Kreutz said, sir. Alright, room 303 it is then. I never approved of awake talks. As Julie and I headed in the direction of room 303, a man appeared from the other end of the hall and walked towards us. Man, this guy's face was like a punching bag. Are you two the acquaintance of the victim? I figured this menacing specimen had to be Police Detective Irving. Yeah. I heard Yates was killed. Yeah, that's right. You a friend of his? No, that would be me. I haven't seen him since high school, though. In other words, you wouldn't know him if you saw him? Alright, let's hear the name of your high school. Of course, Mr. Yates and I attended different high schools, so I don't know what good it'll do you. Yulia gave Irving the name of her high school and the year she attended for good measure. Yates. How was Yates killed? He was stabbed once from the front. Then the killer still... Before I could finish, Irving decided what he had to say was more important. I hear you're a private dick. I don't know what you're used to back in the big city, son, but I would hear the police don't give out details to civilians. Especially not gumshoes like you. Having it made it quite clear that the conversation was over, Mr. Irving gave me one last look, then walked back towards the room. He wasn't too friendly. Oh, well, you win some, you lose some, I suppose. Let's get out of here, babe. Of course, sir. Yulia nodded absent-mindedly. Okay, let's move to the lobby. Yulia and I stepped into the elevator. As I listened to the soft hum of the motor, I thought about the man named Mr. Yates lying dead in the room above us. Was he really the same man who Yulia had known in high school? Sure seemed like it. And if he was, there was a damn good chance he had something to do with Sabin's disappearance. I figured the cops were only hours away from pinning Yates' murder on Sabin, if they hadn't already. I couldn't say I blamed them. Everything we knew seemed to point in that direction, but I couldn't shake the feeling that somehow the pieces didn't fit. As we stepped into the lobby, I noticed Kurtz leave his desk and began walking towards us. How did things go? Not so great. Officer Irving doesn't share your respect for people in my line of work. Oh, is that so? I'm sorry I told him you were here. Don't sweat it. We did manage to get a little out of him. That's good to hear. Alright, I need to get back to work. Have a good day, Mr. Hunter, Miss Marks. Kurtz excused himself and began to make his way back to the desk when a man called out to him from across the lobby. My name is Kenneth Turdsdale. Where are the police? Oh, is this the dad? Oh, Mr. Turdsdale. We've been waiting for you. Please, this way. The police are on the 3rd floor. Turdsdale. That meant he had to be the owner of Team Turdsdale. I moved to intercept him before he could reach the elevator. Excuse me, sir. You're Mr. Turdsdale, right? I was hoping maybe you could answer a few questions. Who are you? I'm in a hurry. Wait. He was able to give me the brush off when he saw my face and something seemed to dawn on him. You. You know me? You were the CCR pit, weren't you? You don't see a suit like that at a racetrack every day. Damn right you don't. The suit was a classic. Right from Yakuza. The only man that can wear that would be the Dragon of Dojima. You're with Team Turdsdale, right? Yes, I am. I'm the manager. Well, I don't exactly manage the everyday business of the team. I have people to do that sort of thing. You're here because of the mess with Yates? Yeah. You know, a little bird told me Yates was just about to become the new owner of Team Turdsdale. Well, yes. The child could have seen there was something he didn't want to tell me. The question was what? Ownership. Was there some kind of trouble with Yates buying out the team? No, not really. Now, if you don't mind, I think you've asked me enough questions. I have other business that needs my attention. And there it was at last, the brush off. I don't know how much Turdsdale knew, but he was hiding something, and I aimed to find out what it was. Talk. Hold on, I've still got some questions. I don't have anything else to say to you. You were saying Yates. It's none of your business. Turdsdale shook me off and made off for the elevator. I knew if he got away, I probably wasn't going to get another chance to talk to him. Let's threaten him a little bit, since it's a new option. Any chance Yates felt like you were screwing him somehow? Or maybe you felt like he wasn't giving you a fair shake? Maybe you felt like you were fucking him in the ass and you weren't giving him a reach around? Wait, are you? No, goodness no. Had nothing to do with this murder. I barely even knew him. That got his attention though. He turned right around. Ownership change. How did he go about buying the team? We never even heard of Mr. Yates until we got a phone call one day telling us he wanted to buy the team. He did say he didn't mind if the team name stayed the same, and didn't ask to replace any of the team members. I thought that was a little odd, but as I'm sure you're aware, racing is an expensive industry. With Mr. Yates' money to back us, Team Turdsdale would never have had to worry about our finances again. I gladly accepted his offer, of course. Acquisition. Nothing you've told me so far really seems worth hiding. Why give me the runaround? We would reveal a team's internal affairs to a complete stranger? Turdsdale had a point. Still, it felt like there was something else he was hiding from me, and there was something else I couldn't wrap my head around. Why Yates suddenly decided he wanted to get into the racing business. Keegan's intent. That was Mr. Yates. What was Mr. Yates intending to do as the owner? He knew he just wasn't about to tell me. Come on, Turdsdale. Spit it out. I know you're hiding something. Well, I'd hit a nerve. He clamped up real quick. It looked like Mr. Turdsdale might need a little more motivation if we were going to continue our conversation. I guess we'll threaten him again. You think maybe Yates had an ulterior motive for buying the team? Maybe someone didn't like it, whatever his plan was, and decided to bump him off. No. That's not possible. Well, maybe. Or perhaps. What did I want to do? Let's talk. Turdsdale, what do you recall? Maybe. What makes you say that? Hold on just a moment. Have you found Sabin Olsen yet? I suppose it was fitting that news would travel fast in the racing community. Then again, as far as I knew, it wasn't like Crowley was trying to cover anything up. After all, he didn't have anything to hide. Sabin. No, I don't know where Sabin is any more than you do. Why do you think he had anything to do with this? Well, Mr. Yates' offer to buy the team came after we had begun negotiation for Mr. Olsen's transfer. Really? Ooh, so he was gonna go to Team Turnsdale, huh? That doesn't sound like a coincidence to me. The transfer? Was Team Turnsdale prepared to accept Sabin's transfer? Yes, until Mr. Yates. Then Yates only bought Team Turnsdale to block Sabin's transfer. Yes, that certainly seemed to be the case. Yates' motive. Any idea why Yates would do something like that? I don't know the details, but they seem to have a history, not a pleasant one. We're the top team in the world of motorcycle racing. Mr. Olsen would gain more exposure as a member of Team Turnsdale. He could be the best in the nation, maybe even the world. Sabin has the skill and the determination to make it big. But with Mr. Yates blocking it, his transfer was dead in the water. What did I want to talk about? Sabin's reaction. How did Sabin react to what Yates was trying to do? He was devastated, of course. No, I suppose it was something more than that. I wonder if Turnsdale caught himself. Look, I can't waste any more time talking to you. I need to go speak with the police. Just watch what you say, Turnsdale. There's no proof yet that Sabin's guilty of anything more than getting screwed. I didn't want an old friend of Yulia's to be a murderer, but the Turnsdale had shed some new light on the situation. Things weren't looking too good for Sabin. I bet Mr. Turnsdale got really bullied in school for his name. I would call him Turddale. Mr. Turd. Turnsdale pushed past me into the elevator before I could stop him again. He couldn't press the closed door button fast enough. I watched the door shut and the elevator begin to move. I'd gotten all I was going out of him. The history between Sabin and Yates. Did it have something to do with Sabin's disappearance? Yates certainly wanted him to suffer. Maybe Yulia would know something. They'd been friends after all. Yulia's face was pale and strained. What did I want to talk about? Sabin and Keegan, babe. Yulia? Yes? I'm sorry. I'm not thinking straight. I couldn't exactly blame her. So far, all the players were old friends. It was enough to get anyone all balled up. Still, if she knew anything about Sabin and Keegan, I needed to know what. Do you know what happened between Sabin and Mr. Yates? I think it had something to do with Sharon. Sharon? Sharon? Who's Sharon? Sharon's Mr. Yates' sister. She's 2 years younger than him. We were in high school. Sharon and Sabin were dating each other. So Sabin ditched the Sharon dame for Carrie. That's rough, but it's life. Would this Yates guy really get bent out of shape over that? Yes, well, it was probably because of the way the relationship ended. The problem. And how exactly did the relationship end? I was studying abroad at the time, so I don't know the details, but according to what I've heard, Sabin's dream has always been to race motorcycles, but he needed money to start his career. I remember hearing that he left Sharon for Carrie because of Carrie's money. Oh. So Yates feels like Sabin chose money instead of his sister. Yeah, so it would seem, but come on, what brother really gets bent out of shape like that? Mr. Yates' family wasn't very well off, and he was always very sensitive about the issue. For his sister to be dumped for a richer woman, well, Keegan's assets. She has very large tracts of land. Wait, if his family was so poor, how could Yates afford to buy Team Turnsdale? Well, I'm not sure exactly. I wonder what happened to Mr. Yates. There was still a whole lot that I didn't understand, but I was starting to get a sense of the bigger picture. I still don't know what the deal with Sabin's transfer was. Maybe it's time I talked to Crowley again. Okay. Okay, so I guess we should move forward to the CCR pit. I imagine Crowley would be pretty keen on hearing of most of this. Yes. Yulia and I walked out of the lobby towards the parking lot. Yulia was deep in thought, her eyes staring vacantly into space. Maybe I should drive. Sure, she wasn't always the most lively dame, but this wasn't like that. She checked her phone constantly, hoping for a phone call, text, message, anything. But no dice. Wherever Sabin and Kerry were, getting in touch with Yulia didn't seem to be high on their list of priorities. We finally arrived at the CCR pit. What did I want to do? Well, we're going to inspect around. It looked like they were almost ready. We started walking as Mr. Crowley made his way towards us. Have you found anything, Mr. Hunter? Yeah, let's talk to Crowley. Satirian. I was just over at Satirian. Mr. Yates from Team Turdsdale had been murdered. What? Mr. Yates? Crowley didn't say anything more, but I could almost see his thoughts churning below the surface. Sabin's transferred. Is it true that Sabin's being transferred? Yes, unfortunately. It would be a big step forward for Sabin's career, but... Mr. Yates, what did I want to talk about? Do you know what's going on between the two of them, Crowley? I don't know any of the details. Sabin didn't like to talk about it. What do you know about Yates? Not much. Just that if he can afford to buy Team Turdsdale, he must have more money than God. See, it seems like they did the driver switch to throw off, like to give Sabin a alibi. Oh, I was racing all day. How could I have killed him? But then when we found out that it wasn't Sabin, that sort of blew that out of the water. Just as I was about to start with some more questions, Crowley's phone began to ring. Excuse me. Crowley pulled the phone out of his pocket and turned it around. Yes, this is Crowley speaking. Really? Okay, I'll be right over. That was the clinic. Apparently Thomas just woke up. Would you like to come with me? If you don't mind. During the ride, I realized I spent a good portion of the day in the car. I hoped Thomas would have some answers. He had to. The leather upholstery of the steering wheel creaked as I tightened my grip. We arrived at the AC's clinic. You two wait here. I'm going to see how he's doing. As Crowley trundled across the lobby to the reception desk, Yulia and I exchanged a look. A day at the races was quickly turning into something far more sinister. Quickly. Race. No pun intended. I decided it couldn't hurt to take a minute and go over what happened so far that day. Think. It took a moment to think back on what I'd seen so far. Had I missed anything? Early Sunday morning, Yulia took me somewhere I wouldn't normally go. It was Satiri Circuit. A bondage club. Awesome. I think he usually goes there, though. Yeah, the Satiri Circuit racetrack. An old friend of Yulia's was scheduled to race. I wish I picked that. I wanted to see what he would say. Her friend's name was Sabin. His name was Sabin Olsen. He and Yulia had known each other in high school. Once we got to the track, it took us way longer than it should have to find Sabin's team's pit. The team's name was KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Kevin Crowley Racing, better known as CCR. Someone had taken Sabin's place in the motorcycle race. His name was Thomas Tucker. It was Thomas Tucker. Crowley told us that what Tucker and Sabin's relationship had been. What was Sabin to Tucker? Mentor. Sabin was Tucker's mentor. But Tucker had been fired from CCR 3 months prior. Yulia and I had gone to Satiri Inn in hopes of finding something in Sabin's and Carrie's room. What we found was a murder. The victim of the murder was Keegan Yates. Keegan Yates, another old acquaintance of Yulia's. Yates had been killed in her room on the same floor of the hotel that Olsen was staying on. His room number was 303, right next to 304, or across from it. Yeah, it was room 303. It looked like Yates was out to get Sabin, and had gone to great lengths to torment him. How did Mr. Yates harass Sabin? He bought out TT. He brought Team Turdsdale and forced him to refuse Sabin's transfer. It seemed something that had happened in the past that had given Yates reason to hate Sabin. Who had Sabin wronged? Yates' sister. From what Yulia told me, Sabin had dumped Yates' sister for Carrie, who had a lot more money. Sabin needed a financially secure wife to pursue his dream of racing motorcycles, and Carrie provided that. Yates had always been sensitive about his family's relative poverty, as so Sabin's choice hit him especially hard. Yates seemed to have a reason to hate Sabin. Or Sabin, but he'd given Sabin a pretty good reason to want him gone too. Then Sabin goes missing after an important race, and Yates turns up as a corpse. There was an easy answer, of course, but something told me there was more to the case than I was just more to the case that I just wasn't seeing. What the hell was going on? Sabin killed Yates. Had Sabin intended to use the race as an alibi so that he could go to the hotel and murder Yates? I had to admit, it seemed to be the explanation that fit the facts the best. But how would Yulia take it? That was all I knew at the time. Talk? Yulia? Chris Tucker. Yulia didn't need to know what Sabin might have done, so I tried to change the subject. Maybe Tucker can tell us something. Yes, maybe Sabin and Mr. Tucker asked Mr. Tucker to cover for him. Yulia's voice trailed off. She wanted to believe the best, but she'd spent too much time around me to suspect the worst. It was about time that Crowley walked over towards us from the nurse station. It was about that time. Sorry for the wait. They said we can go in now. Yulia and I followed Crowley into the room where they'd put Tucker. Yulia was far too classy of a dame to let anyone know how scared she really was. All I saw was a small tremor in her hand as she pushed her hair behind her ears, but it was enough. I didn't know the guy in that room was going to tell us, but I sure hope it was good news. But Yulia was about due for some. We stepped into the recovery room. What did I want to do? Inspect. Around. As we stepped in, the man on the bed turned to look at us. This guy's fucking ugly as shit. So he was the mysterious Mr. Tucker. Thomas, you. Crowley started to say something, then thought better of it. I think I'll let Mr. Hunter handle this. Somebody like me isn't really suited for this type of thing. He sort of looks like the Goblin King. I'm the Goblin King. How are you feeling? Who are you? Thomas answered his question. This is Mr. Hunter. He happens to be a detective. I asked him to try and find Sabin. A detective? Mr. Olson's missing? Looks like Tucker knew even less than we did about Sabin's disappearing act. Unless he was playing dumb. Well, I just got a surgery. How do you think I'm doing? Cute. I need you to answer a few questions, kid. Think you're up to that? Tucker didn't seem very excited at the prospect of answering my questions. I hate when people call me kid. Tough beans, I had to do my job. What did I want to talk about? The race. Why'd you switch places with Sabin? Mr. Olson asked me to, 3 days ago. He said something came up that he couldn't get out of. Why'd you agree to do it? I needed the money, and I owe Mr. Olson some money. He said if everything went off smooth, he'd forget my debt and give me a little cash as a sweetener. He was gonna switch off in the middle of the race anyway. It would have been cake. Come on. Who wouldn't have taken a guy up on a deal like that? Sabin's promise. What was so important to Sabin that he had to ditch the race? I had wondered that too. It wasn't like him to ditch a race, so I kept bugging him about it. He wouldn't tell, so finally I told him the deal was off if he didn't fess up. He had to think about it for a bit, but he finally told me. It was some kind of meeting with Mr. Yates, apparently. Uh-oh, Yates, huh? Yeah, no doubt. He got it straight from the horse's mouth. Do you know what's going on between Sabin and Mr. Yates? Sorta. I guess when they were kids, Mr. Olson did something to Yates' sister that he still hates him for. Yates hasn't given him shit for years over. It's no coincidence Yates told Mr. Olson their meeting would be on the day of the race. Just to fuck with him. The son of a bitch is always pulling crap like that. Saban's thoughts. Was Saban trying to work things out with Yates? Of course he was. Mr. Olson told me plenty of times he'd do anything to patch things up with Yates. Can't imagine why, though. They'd talk ever so often, but nothing ever came of it. Mr. Olson always came back saying it was all his fault, that Yates had every reason to hate him. Yates demanded to see Sabin the day of the race would have given Sabin a perfect chance for his revenge. If Tucker hadn't gotten into an accident, Sabin would have had a perfect alibi. You think Sabin was thinking of settling things between him and Yates for good? Settle? Mr. Olson, you don't mean... Wait a second. Are you saying Yates is... Before Tucker could finish, we heard the door open. I turned around. Mr. Irving glared at us silently. And behind him stood Ryo Hisu. Oh, he's the one dude from China. Ryo, what are you doing here? You and I met Ryo before, during a case in the port city of Depona. He worked for the Chinese government. Huh. Talk. Ryo. So you're back in the U.S. on a case? Yes, you could say that. Jake Hunter, I've come to ask a favor of you. Favor? Ryo was about to respond when Irving interrupted. You know this punk? I met him once before. Mr. Irving snorted and gave me a look usually reserved for criminals. Whatever. We're just here to verify something. Let's talk later. Irving? Verify? What is it you need to verify? Not your problem, Hunter. We're here to talk to Crowley. Crowley jumped a little at the mention of his name. I couldn't blame him. I wouldn't want Irving coming to visit me either. Me? Can you tell us who these belong to? Mr. Irving took out a pair of sunglasses. A pair of cheap sunglasses. Oh, the expensive kind. These are Saban's. They were a birthday present from Carrie. He wore them all the time. Oh. What's the deal with those shades, Irving? What's with you, Hunter? Can't take a hit? Fine, I'll throw you a bone, just this once. These were found at the scene of the Yates murder, and knew so. Thought that so. In the hotel room, you mean? The owner. Sounds like you decided they were Sabin's before you asked Crowley. That's why I said we were here to verify something, genius. Look. Irving's meaty sausage of a finger stabbed at the letters printed on the glasses that read, Sabin. Of course, there are a lot of ways they could have ended up in that room, but after hearing what Mr. Tursdale had to say about Olson and Yates, Irving gave a smirk that made me want to put my fist through his ugly face. I've taken the liberty of naming Sabin Olson as the primary suspect in the murder of Keegan Yates. I'll have an arrest warrant as soon as I can talk to the judge. How come I have a feeling that, Crowley has something to do with this? Sabin had the motive and an opportunity for the crime. His sunglasses had been found at the scene of the crime, and he disappeared right after the murder had been committed. Maybe Crowley was upset that Sabin was going to leave the team. It seemed like the deck was stacked against the guy, and I had no idea the cops would name him as a suspect sooner or later. My own search for him wasn't going very well. The clues were far and few between. Where had Carrie gone, and why? Did she have some part in this whole mess? Yuli was smart enough to come to the same conclusion I was, but I didn't have the heart to outright accuse her old friend of murder. And then there was Ryo. Why had he shown up? Did he fit in somewhere? I had a feeling that I'd only seen the tip of the iceberg. To be continued. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this nice relaxing trip with the Detective Jake Hunter. Sorry it's been a while since I've recorded. I've been trying to get things done before this whole quarantine thing ended. I've been enjoying my time and really trying to get the most out of it. But if you guys are enjoying, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you haven't, because it makes me feel good. And make sure you have a good night. Good night.